What if I told you, ladies and gentlemen, that the man who supported Remy Ma during his jail sentence, cheating allegations, and business turmoil was just attacked by the child he assisted in raising? What if I told you that Papoose is now lying in a hospital bed with stitches, bruised ribs, and a broken heart because the same son who had called him dad for years suddenly lost it in a fit of rage? Yes, you heard correctly. Jason Scott, Remy Ma's firstborn, is accused of engaging Papoose in a full-on WWE backstage battle during a private family gathering, and the causes for it go much beyond a simple outburst. Chili, we're discussing a covert DNA test, a 20-year deception, and a man who might have just come to terms with the fact that he was never the father. Is this a betrayal, karma, or simply a family blowing up after years of concealing secrets behind closed doors? We dissect it all tonight. You'll wish this false news article was real because it includes leaked text messages and rumors that Fat Joe is the real father. Let's begin. Here is what people are whispering, not screaming in the streets at the moment. Papoose, after being attacked by her own son. The same Papoose who restrained Remy Ma for 6 years while she was incarcerated is currently recuperating in the hospital. Yes, we did say it. It wasn't simply furniture that was attacked. Fists were thrown, words were screamed, and something was damaged. Fans believe that Jason Scott, Remy Ma's firstborn son, and the suspected attacker was a quiet person. The one Papoose used to proudly bring to the stage. Papoose was publicly thanked by Jason for being the only true man in his life. Yes, the real thing just became really ugly. Scenes? They continued to receive invitations to barbecues, according to a source who is very close to the family. All of this occurred at what was meant to be a therapeutic meal. Papoose, Remy, and Jason were finally going to have a secret meeting in a rented estate in Jersey to work things out. But Papoose's jawline was the only thing that was cleared. This family didn't get to this state of disarray overnight, so let's take a moment to go back in time. Y'all out here raising kids that aren't even yours with the clown emoji. Was the dodgy tweet that Clarissa Shields tweeted last month? Do you recall the pandemonium that followed? Supporters believed she was simply being untidy. She was actually establishing the foundation. Rumors of a covert DNA test have been circulated behind the scenes, moving around. Not just any DNA test either, but one that purportedly showed Papoose is not Jason Scott's real father. Hold on, take a breath. Go over that again. The father is not Papoose. He only learned about it a few weeks ago, supposedly when an anonymous envelope arrived at the studio at random, carrying only a manila folder, a MyStyle test result, and a single line on the back. Find out from Remy who the real father is. Can you guess who the supporters are criticizing? Fat Joe? That's who? Yes. The general of the terror squad himself. For years, this man has referred to Remy as Sis, the same man who once acknowledged that their bond was stronger than blood. As if viewing a documentary backwards, fans are now sneering at every picture, backstage embrace, and late-night studio session from the early 2000s. But let's get back to the battle. According to sources, Papoose mentioned the DNA test throughout the dinner. It all went south. I don't blame you, son. I just need the truth from your mother, he reportedly stated, turning to face Jason. Jason, who had reportedly already seen the test results but had been instructed by Remy to remain silent for the time being, lost it. And that's when the trouble started, people. He got up, turned the tables, and said, "You're not even my dad. Stop acting like you ever were." Glass shattered. Security hurried in. A voice said, "Call 911. Papoose fell to the ground. He had a broken spirit, a potentially fractured rib, and facial edema by the time paramedics came. He was taken away to a private hospital using a false identity, but followers soon realized that it was because of a nurse who shared a picture of a man wearing a hoodie, his face hidden, his gold teeth, and the exact chain and tattoo that Papoose had. Twitter is currently ablaze. Remy Ma is no longer there. Deafening quiet without a post, statement, or denial. Fans are divided after Jason wrote a story stating, "I said what needed to be said. There's no cap in my DNA." Some are standing up for him, claiming that he is merely a young man who was deceived. Some are accusing him of being brainwashed by their true father, calling him a clock chaser and being ungrateful. Then there is Fat Joe, who recently to post a casual shadowboxing video on social media the following morning from a boxing facility with the caption, "Stay ready so you don't have to get ready." Coincidence? 'Cause things get much messier here. Fans don't think so. In a now viral TikTok, a lady claiming to be Remy Ma's old best friend has revealed her own receipts. She claims Remy used to sneak around with Joe on tour back in the day everyone knew, even Papoose, but he loved her so much that he ignored it. He was more worried about keeping her safe than facing the reality. And now the fact is literally we'll pick up where we left off. Papoose is in the hospital. Jason is subtly criticizing him on social media, and Fat Joe is punching air. Literally in a boxing gym live, while half the internet believes he's the real father. The worst part is that sources close to Remy say she's in full damage control mode, not to protect Papoose, but to protect the family name. Because if word gets out that Fat Joe actually fathered her child while she was publicly committed to Papoose, the fallout could destroy more than just this relationship pit could. Completely upend the hip-hop loyalty pyramid. Behind this generational mess, however, a bombshell is dropped just when things are getting out of control. No, we're not being dramatic, but this one was taken directly from a hacker's archive. Late last night, an anonymous account called Truth for Paps shared screenshots of what they say are real text messages from Remy Ma. And if it's bad, it's like the season finale of a reality show on steroids. One of the messages, purportedly from Remy to her son Jason, says, "Please don't bring up Joe. The arrangement is known to you. It was not meant to make a difference. You were raised as his own by Papoose." Let's break this down. This leak is even partially true. It means three things. Remy and Fat Joe may have had something back in the early 2000s. Papoose may have been raising another man's child for 20 years without knowing. And worst of all, they all purposefully kept this from him. Another, even worse, Joe knew. He always knew. He just respected Pap too much to say anything. Wait, there's more. After the text was released, a new voice note appeared purportedly from a conversation between Remy Ma and a close industry friend. In the audio, a woman's voice reportedly says, "Papoose will forgive me." This is in contrast to dedicating your life to someone, waiting while they serve time, defending them in every interview, and even turning down opportunities to stay loyal, only to wind up in the emergency room after being attacked like your own son over a secret you never even asked for. He always does. And y'all, that line sent fans into orbit. He doesn't have anybody but me. And just when you thought it couldn't get any dirtier, guess who posted a selfie with Jason at random? Fat Joe himself. Caption, "My little guy has always been family. 100 points, red heart." You can't make this stuff up. And yet here we are making it even crazier. Hashtag Porp. Hashtag Remy exposed. Hashtag Jor the father trending within 20 minutes. Even the Shade Room had to throw up their little eyes developing story post. Remy Ma sis hasn't spoken publicly, but her Instagram activity is speaking loud and clear. Fans have noticed that she removed more than 200 posts in a single hour, and her bio has changed to just the words "healing girl." Healing who? You Papoose and the 20-year lie. Ree's brand image was built on loyalty, strength, and second chances. And she wrote entire bars about standing 10 toes down. But now she's in full ghost mode while her husband lies in recovery. Her son is making fun of her, and Fat Joe is out there self-launching fatherhood with a fist emoji. Situation: a cousin's barber said that Ree's legal team is now involved. Not because she's denying the allegations, but because she's trying to control the leak. They allegedly filed a takedown request against the anonymous Truth account. But guess what? That only made it worse, because now the account is doubling down, teasing voice recordings, photos, and video proof of conversations between Remy and Joe from 2005. Internet detectives are now pulling receipts from old interviews. To recall that 2007 episode of 106 in Park where Remy joked, "Fat Joe always got me." Away from trouble. Oh no, you guys, the Bronx is turning on itself. Let's zoom out now. More than just a ruined marriage is at stake if these leaks continue to accumulate. Ree's commercial agreements, Fat Joe's label deals, and even the allegiance of devoted Terror Squad fans may be impacted by this. 4. You know what else reappeared? A 2011 TMZ video in which Papoose makes fun of being a stepfather without any documentation. Everyone chuckled. That quote haunts me now. And keep in mind that Papoose is still in the hospital bed recovering. From this, he is reportedly very scared and hardly able to communicate, although he hasn't yet made a public announcement. Insiders claim that he has completely stopped communicating with Jason. This goes beyond familial turmoil. This film is blatantly betraying its audience. As you are already aware, Netflix is secretly working on a miniseries. As Chapter 2 is coming to a close, a never-before-seen 2003 photo of Remy Ma and Fat Joe holding hands in a hotel corridor recently went viral on X. Previously Twitter, just when we thought the story had reached its lowest point. Indeed, it appears to be 3 a.m. captioned. You all believed it to be brother-sister love. Boom, who is lying is no longer the question that everyone is asking. What more is Remy concealing? Let's continue precisely where we left off. That image from 2003 shows Remy Ma and Fat Joe in a hotel hallway. Faces down, hands interlocked. Timestamp showing 3:12 a.m. It became a Category 10 controversy on the internet. Every conspiracy thread, meme page, and gossip blog from the Bronx to Bulgaria reposted it in a matter of minutes. However, this was not another instance of he said, she said. This was the match that put out the last flames in a family that was already on fire from treachery, deception, and now legal smoke. Because a sealed custody document purportedly written by Papoose himself was leaked while that picture was trending. Yes, we are discussing the contents of an actual letter that was subtly submitted in New Jersey family court 6 months ago. I formally request that no legal guardianship or access be granted to Mackie in relation to my biological daughter in the event that something were to happen to me or my health. Recent revelations of Jason Scott's deceit, emotional manipulation, and withholding of important paternal information are the reason for this request. Drop it, Mike. Papoose has another child, even though he is not Jason's real father. He no longer even wants Remy close to her. Drama is no longer the only thing here. Legal warfare is what this is. It gets considerably messier from here. The quiet in Fat Joe's camp was finally broken. His longtime manager Big Lou went live on Instagram and dropped a bombshell of his own, which was an unexpected move. Joe isn't fleeing in vain. He didn't have any children. However, if someone is interested in going digging in 2003, keep in mind that Pap has been silent for a reason. Everyone has secrets. Hold on. Wait. Is that dangerous? Since it was interpreted as one by the streets. Hours later, the hashtags were trending once more. Remy was only the symptom, and now we have hashtag PA. Perfect hashtag Joe knew too much. The focus has shifted from Remy's treachery to what Papoose was concealing. Furthermore, let's not act as though the public is remaining composed. The comment sections have descended into a full-fledged civil war over this. Remy is the bad guy on one side. She used his allegiance as a weapon while playing Pap for decades. On the other hand, you guys are dragging Remy. But what if Pap was aware of it and chose to remain silent to protect his reputation? Can we just get a documentary somewhere in the middle? Now, let's discuss actual repercussions while the fans are arguing. Because what began as a sentimental family dispute is now being observed by attorneys, companies, and maybe the federal government. Why? Because a six-figure streaming deal was just put in jeopardy by this whole incident. As stated by Remy Ma's impending documentary on her motherhood in prison re-entry has been secretly shelved, according to an unidentified executive from a well-known hip-hop platform who might rhyme with flex. Concerns about the morals clause caused sponsors to withdraw. According to sources, in other words, they do not wish to be connected to this paternity circus. In the meantime, Papoose was set to host a brand new season of hip-hop romances on a relationship network this autumn, and that's on hold now. Why? According to insiders, the public image is too erratic. A custody dispute, a bruised face, and online silence. They were not exactly aiming for a romantic picture. Jason, the son at the center of it all, comes next. You don't get to lie for 20 years and then play victim when the truth hits back. Yep, the kid is not backing down. He posted a black and white picture on Instagram after 2 days of silence. However, this is not what anyone anticipated. A video of Papoose speaking at the hospital late last night surfaced online. It seems to be a nurse's voice recorder. I should have left a long time ago, but I trusted the picture we painted, says Papoose. That comment went viral right away. Now the paint's peeled, and I don't even recognize the canvas. 50 Cent reposted it. Lil Mo said, "Damn, that hit." DJ Khaled also posted a mysterious tweet. "They don't have faith in him," Remy told a fib. This is no longer merely a family dispute. Every sloppy layer of this hip-hop heartbreak is coming off more quickly than Ree's public relations team can respond. It's happening in real time. And when we thought things couldn't get much more depressing, a familiar figure appears outside the hospital. Hood up, Remy Ma. Just anguish. No glitz. TMZ saw her carrying a tiny letter and flowers through the back. Entrance? Was it a farewell, a request, or an apology? Papoose allegedly refused to see her, so we don't know. "I told people," a nurse said. Soon as she entered, he looked toward the wall. Remains silent. Oh no, from dead silence to ride or perish. However, this is where the three-act tragedy comes to a close with a final twist. According to reports, a second DNA test has been scheduled. For another child, not for Jason. Remy said that Papoose fathered a young girl outside of their marriage. Why? Because, according to insiders, Remy is now attempting to change the story. She is subtly suggesting that Pap should examine himself. If he is going to doubt my veracity, oh phew. Now we're getting into the realm of plot twists. Was it possible that Pap and Remy were both raising children who weren't their own children? Is this more about a constructed love story than betrayal? On falsehoods from both sides. One thing is certain, regardless of the reality. This empire simply fell apart in front of millions of people. And the parts won't be put back together by a DNA test, a public apology, or an emotional Instagram live. Not when there is no longer any trust. Not with the sun punching you. Not when Fat Joe enters the purported parenthood discussion out of the blue. We may eventually hear Papoose's official statement soon. But in the meantime, there are a lot of side eyes directed toward Remy's inner circle, broken hearts, and hazy time frames on the internet. And believe me, this isn't the end. Because everyone wants to know who murdered loyalty when it dies in hip-hop. The question now becomes, how can you recover from this? A husband in the hospital, an enraged son, and a legacy shattered by a 20-year lie. Will Remy Ma and Papoose's relationship end? Or perhaps the start of a more profound disintegration that nobody anticipated? Because this is more than simply a family dissolution if Fat Joe is indeed the father, if that custody order is upheld, and if Papoose permanently leaves. It's the breakdown of the most devoted love story in hip-hop. However, what are your thoughts? Was Jason at last protecting himself from a lifetime of secrets, or was his attack on Papoose incorrect? Is it better to forgive Remy Ma or expose him further? Leave your ideas in the comments section. Everything is being read by us, Speech Balloon. If you think the truth always comes out, you should like this video. It's an Arrow-equipped mobile phone. Because you already know that someone else's ideal relationship might be on the chopping block the next time. Subscribe if you want the real deal before it becomes popular.